What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I'd love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video is going to be Peloton cycling versus the at-home SoulCycling bike. I am a member of Equinox, so we have these SoulCycle bikes at the gym, and I've ridden one once and then I just kind of stopped, but now I'm ready to get back into it. And I've been doing Peloton for like 2 years, so definitely have a bias towards Peloton, but I'd love to break down what the differences are so you can figure out which one is for you if you're in between them, or if you're just kind of curious what the SoulCycle bike is like. I don't see a ton of content about the SoulCycle bike, so I thought that it would be fun to create some. So it is Monday morning right now, and I'm just looking for a 30-minute cycle ride to pair with other gym workouts today. And I will say I come on the app. There's an Equinox app just like the Peloton app, and you can kind of filter things down differently. So on the Peloton app, there's all the different groups of exercises that you can pick. But in this, you see all of the classes and then you filter down. So you can filter on duration, what equipment you have. So light, medium, heavy dumbbells, a resistance band, treadmill, etc., etc. And then you can do the category. So this is where you see strength, yoga, cycling, running. The level of difficulty, so they have introductory, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. The body focus, core, full body, upper body. The brand, SoulCycle, Equinox, TB12, etc. What music genre you want, and then you can sort by newest or oldest. So a lot of this you don't need to click for cycling. I pretty much just click the brand of SoulCycle, and then I personally want a 30-minute class, so I filtered that down. And then I also think that I'm going to take an advanced class today. I'm a pretty advanced cycler, so might as well just send it this Monday morning and go pretty hard. I will say some of the things I do like about the sort functionality compared to Peloton is that you can say what equipment you have. Peloton doesn't have that feature yet. I hope they're working on it. And that's really convenient if you only have certain equipment. But two things that I don't like is you can't sort by instructor, which I think it's because SoulCycle seems to have not really a core set of instructors. They don't have that much content on this app. There's only 660 rides, I believe, right now. And then when I was looking at each instructor had 30 rides. So maybe that will build up over time, because if each instructor has 30 rides, that is roughly the same amount of instructors as Peloton, around 20. But right now, it just feels like each instructor is not really established on the app, if that makes sense. And then my other complaint is that you can't sort by most popular or top rated, because I'd love to just take some top rated rides, but alas, we cannot sort that way. So I'm just going to take the most recent 30-minute advanced ride, which is titled What Feels Good, and is done by instructor Jonas. So I feel SoulCycle is definitely more of a vibe than Peloton. Peloton is you're doing hidden hills. This is the instructor. This is the estimated resistance you're going during the class. And SoulCycle is What Feels Good by Jonas. And it says, Jonas is a born and raised Brooklyn athlete who believes in the power of sports, community, and a good sweat. He has always used competition and training to slow down the busy city around him, and that translates to his time on the bike. With a passion for music and movement, Jonas clips in and creates a fun yet gritty environment for his riders to chase everything that they never knew they needed. And it says member ratings is a 4.8 out of 5 overall, but there's only 224 ratings, so you can tell that this platform is just way smaller than Peloton. And then it's a 4 out of 5 for exertion with only 138 ratings. They also list out the playlist, which is nice, and that's pretty much all they tell you. I will go to the gym now. I will say another thing that I dislike about the SoulCycle bike, which is not a true dislike, but it's because I'm coming from the Peloton, is at least at the gym, the SoulCycle bikes are not compatible with the Peloton cleats I have, which is interesting because Equinox also has a cycling studio where they teach live classes, and my cleats are compatible with those, but they're not compatible with the SoulCycle bike. You need the cleat that's like an oval. So I will be riding it with my sneakers, which definitely stinks a little. I'm like very cleat elitist. I really like riding with my cleats. So that's a little sad, but besides that, I'm excited to kick off the Monday with some cycling. Ever since I joined the gym like 2 months ago, I still cycle, but usually only once or twice a week. So I'm excited to up my cycling a little bit. And if I could find like a groove with the SoulCycle bike, I would love to. I really wish they just had Peloton bikes at Equinox, but I know that that is wishing for too much. So let's get to the gym and do this ride and figure out what feels good. I am now back from the gym, and that cycling class was just like very, very hectic. It was interesting. I enjoyed it in the moment, but I don't know if I would enjoy it every day. Like, it's just such a different experience from Peloton. And I also took notes during the class because I thought that I would forget like all of my thoughts because it was just a lot. So first off, you get on the bike, everything's fine. You turn it on at like the bottom right of the screen. And I always forget, like I've only done this once before, but when I went the first time, I had to Google how to turn it on. And then I also had to re-Google it today because I'm like, I can't find the power button. But then I got it on. I didn't think that it was like hard to find the class that I was trying to take, although they were in a different order on the screen, which was a little weird. But I found it, easy peasy. We started the ride. So first off, there's like absolutely no metrics. Like, you don't know how fast you're going. You don't know how far you're going until the end when they tell you. You don't know how much resistance you have. You don't know how much time is left in the class. Like, you know, no information during this ride, which I think it depends on like what you like and what you want. I'm just used to Peloton being like so specific, be like, you're going resistance 61 and your cadence is 89 RPMs, that it's like very different to not have any metrics. But it's like also kind of nice because sometimes with Peloton metrics, if you don't do well or like you don't see improvement, then I kind of like feel bad, but you can't feel bad for SoulCycle because there's just no metrics. So I think that's interesting. And that's also like a very intentional choice on SoulCycle. Like, that's the vibe that they're going for. You mostly cycle to the beat, which like I like, no complaints there. The instructor was very, very hype. He was like yelling, he was screaming, he was getting off the bike. He seemed to be having some microphone issues because he kept like taking the puffy part that's around the microphone and like taking it off and putting a new one on, if I like understood correctly. But he got off the bike a lot. But then when he was on the bike, he was cycling very, very hard. So it was very interesting. Like, he obviously was sweating and breathing very heavy. So like, it's nice that they do the class with you, except when he got off the bike, and he got off the bike quite a bit. So it was like kind of like touch and go, very odd, a strange experience in my opinion. But it was like kind of cool because I feel like with Peloton instructors, some of them do the class with you and some of them like don't really, and almost none of them like show any signs of fatigue. And this guy was obviously fatigued, but then he also was like constantly getting off the bike, which today it didn't annoy me, but I think that it would annoy me some days. Like, it just depends on the mood, because it usually annoys me when Peloton instructors stop pedaling. So like, I don't know, this guy was just so hyped though that I'm like, you know what, it's fine. Like, this class is just hectic. There's one random person taking this class like in the studio they were filming in. So that was very odd. Like, if you don't like people in the studio in the Peloton classes, you're going to like it even less if they're just one person, because you're going to look at that one person. It doesn't bother me when there's people in the studio in Peloton. I know that's like an unpopular opinion and some people like really don't like it, but there was just like this one girl doing this and I was like, this is very distracting because she sticks out so much when you see her reflection. That was just like very random. And I think he kind of explained why she was there, but like not really. Like, it was very, very odd. Then the leaderboard is just like a list of people taking the class because there's no metrics. So there can't really be like rankings at all. So there are like a couple people in this class. Like this platform is not as popular as Peloton, and this is just like a random class. It wasn't live. You can send anybody a fist bump, this like party streamer thing, or a lightning bolt. I sent one person a party streamer thing and they did not reply to me, so I was very sad. But I didn't want to like spam other people with it, but it was like kind of cool, and I like that you can send like different things, because I think that's like kind of fun rather than just a high five. There was also just a ton of out of the saddle work. I would say 80% of the class was out of the saddle. Obviously, I just modified, like I can't do 80% of the class out of the saddle, and I don't really see why you'd want to. But there was also a lot of like upper body movement, which is another thing that Soul is known for. Like a lot of like going back and forth. And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing, like almost doing push-ups on the bar and just like swaying a lot. So that's like kind of cool because it's just different than Peloton, and it really depends what you want out of your ride. But I thought that that was interesting, but I also kind of expected it. I would say at the end of the day, it's very personal opinion. Like, do you want Peloton experience that's like very, very metrics driven? Or do you want like more vibes, more music, more dancing experience that is more SoulCycle? I will say the biggest difference between the two, in my opinion, that like isn't really like a personal preference thing, is production value. At least right now, Peloton has way more production value than Soul. Like the video wasn't as clear, like the instructor was having technical difficulties, like even the one random person in the class, like it just like seems like the Soul is still like very, very casual. I don't think that they have like actual filming studios. I think they just like film in random Soul locations. I could be wrong on that, but I do feel like they could catch up a little bit with the production value of Peloton, just because they have something to like directly compete with. So it's like very, very obvious that they are lacking if you've taken Peloton classes. So that's all that I noticed today during the ride. The other thing that I noticed is on the homepage, they actually had a picture of the cleats I have, like SPD cleats, and it seems like you could use them to ride the SoulCycle bike. So I'm gonna try the next time I ride and see if I can. I don't know if like these pedals have been modified because they want there to be like toe cage pedals for the gym, but it doesn't look like I can in the gym. But I guess that's just because it's like in a gym and it's not your own SoulCycle bike. So I'm excited to continue. I think I'm also gonna take a longer ride and a live ride, because I think that those would be like fun things to compare to Peloton. I will say two good things that I've noticed about SoulCycle that I like is A, they definitely lean towards longer rides. At least there's a lot of like 30, 45 minute and 60-minute rides, compared to Peloton that I feel like leans more towards like 15 to 30-minute rides. So I appreciate that because I like to ride for a longer time. I think it's because the at-home bike is trying to emulate like actual SoulCycle, and that's typically a 45-minute class. And then the other thing is the live ride times are definitely geared more towards the West Coast, which is nice because I'm on the West Coast. I feel like Peloton really gears their morning rides to East Coast riders and to UK riders, but there's like not that many live rides after like 7 a.m. on the West Coast, and SoulCycle has more. So that's also a nice thing if you're a West Coast person. But that was pretty much my opinions for today. I'm excited to see if all of the rides will be that hectic. This ride was also titled like What Feels Good, and I don't know what he was going with that. I thought he was gonna give some like motivational speech about how like cycling feels good, or like exercising or moving your body. But no, he did not touch on that. I do not know why that was the title. So I'm definitely interested to see if the rest of the rides I take are as hectic, but you know, good first day. I had a lot of fun. It is now a couple of days later. It's actually already Friday, which is nice. The week just really flew by, and I haven't had a chance to get back on the SoulCycle bike, but I definitely have some time today to work it into my workout schedule. And I thought it would be fun to try to take a live ride. I don't really think it'll be different than on demand, but you know, we're getting the full SoulCycle experience in this video, so I want to see what it's like. I have determined that you can use the Peloton cleats on the SoulCycle, just not on the bike that I'm on because they like did something with the pedals, but you can do that for future reference. One of the things I liked about SoulCycle was that there was really good times on the West Coast to ride. That is not the case for today. I think the options were like 4:30 a.m., 6:30 a.m., or 9:30 a.m. So I'm doing the 9:30 a.m. one. I wish it was a little bit earlier. I'm gonna have to really run home right afterwards, but you know, we'll fit it in. And I'm doing the studio stream with Ariel. The description is clip in with Ariel for an instant endorphin boost. With his live rides, you can expect a feel-good workout paced with pop jams, throwbacks, and your favorite sing-alongs to keep you motivated all the way through the finish line. And you know, I like pop jams, I like throwback songs, so I should like Ariel. It's a 30-minute ride, and yeah, you actually get the playlist in advance. I'm not sure if I would call these throwback. I see a lot of Swedish House Mafia, which like, I don't know, interesting like pop jams, I guess. I am very curious like how many people are actually going to be on this ride, if he's going to interact with anyone. There wasn't a ton of interaction with the last ride that I took. I think he might have shouted out like one person for hitting a milestone. I'm definitely not hitting any milestones today, so it should be fun, a nice way to like close out my workout on a Friday. And let's just get right to the gym. I'm gonna do some arm workout beforehand, and then I'll get on the bike to ride. It's now a little bit later. I had to zip on home and do some work, but now I can reflect on my SoulCycle Live experience. It was very different than Monday. I think just because the instructors were very different. But I think the biggest difference is that I could actually see some metrics this time during the ride. There was cadence, there was power, which is like output, and then there was also total mileage the entire time. I am very confused because I've never seen that before. So I don't know if it's a live thing or if it's because they've just updated it since Monday, which seems unlikely, but I really am not sure. So I need to definitely look into that some more. I joined the class at like 9:26 a.m. because I was very worried about getting it set up on time, because the last time I rode, it just took me a while to like get my bike set up and like be ready to take the class. So I joined a little bit early. It was just black until like 9:29. And then Ariel came on. He was looking to see like who was taking the class. There were 37 people in the class. So you can tell that SoulCycle like at-home bike is just way, way smaller than Peloton. He gave like a couple people a shout outs, and then we started. It doesn't seem like SoulCycle like prompts you to give other people high fives if like they're hitting a milestone. I've like never gotten a notification like that. And you can also snooze alerts. So if people are sending you like the party thing or like a fist bump, you can just snooze it so you don't see it. This class again was very like fast paced, a ton of out of the saddle work, a lot of like doing upper body movements. And I just feel like all the SoulCycle classes are not structured as much as the Peloton, which definitely still goes with the whole SoulCycle brand. They're definitely going for like a vibe rather than like do a really hard structured workout, which is just kind of like what you want. I definitely like this guy a lot more than the guy on Monday. If I was going to take more SoulCycle classes, I would definitely like look into taking more with him. The only thing that I didn't like was that the class was not 30 minutes long. It was like 27 minutes long. Like there was like 5 minutes left in the class, and then he's like, all right, cool down. And then we just ended early. It was so weird, but there's no countdown. So like, I only knew that because the class started at 9:30. So then when we were ending at like 9:57, I like clearly could see that it wasn't a half hour. There's like nowhere that SoulCycle states like how long each class you're taking. And I think they're just all like drastically different. Like a 30-minute ride could be like 27 minutes or it could be like 32 minutes and you just have no clue and there's nothing to show you that, which like I'm not the biggest fan of that. Like I want the 30-minute ride. I want to know that that's like how long I expected to ride. I just like the consistency that Peloton offers where like there is a timer and you can see the countdown. I definitely see like the advantages of not having that timer countdown because then you're like more in the moment. But I don't like that even after the fact you can't see it, because then like they don't do a ton of like comparing metrics. But even if you wanted to compare like distance you went, it's just totally irrelevant because you could be going different amounts of time. So like today I think I only went 7 miles and some change, and like last Monday I went 8 miles and some change, but like you can't compare them because last Monday was longer than today, even though they were both 30-minute rides. So definitely not a fan of that. And it was also just like very random in my opinion, and like why? But I don't know. That was my biggest complaint of today. But besides that, the live ride was pretty much the exact same as like an on-demand ride, which is what I expected, but I thought that I'd try it out. I think I'm going to try out one more SoulCycle ride for this video. That's like a longer ride, and see what I like, because I feel like that's kind of where Peloton like lacks a little for me. Like they have 60-minute rides, but just like not enough. So I'm definitely curious to see if SoulCycle can, you know, kind of bring some competition to Peloton there. Although I don't know how I feel about being out of the saddle for 60 minutes straight, because I would say that 75% of the class you were out of the saddle for SoulCycle. It is now 2 days later. It's Sunday and I'm ready for my 60-minute SoulCycle ride. I thought it'd be a nice, chill Sunday activity. We'll see what the vibes are. So it seems like 60 minutes is the longest SoulCycle class that is offered on Equinox, which I'm okay with. I mean, obviously it'd be nicer to do longer ones. Like I really like the 90-minute power zone rides Peloton has to offer, but I also acknowledge that like they're definitely working with limited resources here. So it's cool that they have 60 and that they have like a decent amount to choose from. So just when I sort it, the first one that comes up is by Ariel. And I definitely want to do a new instructor for this video. I don't want to do like the same instructor twice. So the second one listed is called Give a Little Love by Emily T. And I don't think I've taken a woman instructor on SoulCycle yet, so I'm excited to give her a whirl. And the overview is, with a background in dance, Emily T's live rides will inspire you to move, groove, and catch the beat. She's a proud, resilient mom who will inspire you to be strong, clear your mind, and have fun on the bike. So I don't know, we'll see. I feel like the descriptions don't really ever match up with the actual class, so it'll be interesting. And the music looks like it's by like all women possibly, which I'm here for. Oh no, actually I see Mr. Brightside by the Killers. Scratch that. A lot of them are by women though. It's just pop music, so it should be fun. And I'm very curious to see like if we're gonna get out of the saddle so much. Like there has to be recovery in 60 minutes. I'm just interested to see how this ride is structured and give SoulCycle another shot. Honestly, I don't think that it's like that bad. It's just not my cup of tea compared to Peloton, but that's just because I'm so used to Peloton. So let's go to the gym and get this SoulCycle ride in. I just got back from the gym and I really enjoyed the 60-minute SoulCycle class. I think that I like the instructor the best out of all of them. She just had very good vibes, and she was also very, very pregnant. She was 37 weeks pregnant and she still kicked my butt on the bike. I think that that's absolutely crazy. Like she obviously had to be doing like light resistance, but she was still going so fast out of the saddle. Like I can't even go that fast out of the saddle any resistant, and I'm not pregnant. So that was absolutely crazy. But we started the ride and I actually figured out you can see your metrics by swiping down on the top. So they just appeared the last time that I rode, but this time I just swiped down and saw them. And you can actually swipe the timer on the bottom up. So originally they don't like, so when you start the ride, you don't see anything, but then you can like swipe things to add it. I like to see my metrics, like how far I've gone and like what my cadence is and what my power is. They don't like have a resistance number, but you can kind of derive that off of the power. But I actually don't really like looking at the timer. I know for Peloton, I'm like really guilty of watching the clock that even on the Peloton, I like try to tap it away. So I just like kept it away. Like I check it occasionally, but if I leave it on the screen, then I just like stare at it and focus on it until the ride's over, and then it's like not as fun. So I like that they don't automatically have it, like, and it's very easy to tap away. But we got into the ride pretty fast. It said that the class was 62 minutes long on the timer on the bottom. It only went to about 55 minutes, and then it just like stopped and the instructor stretched, which again, like if I'm doing a 60-minute ride, I want to ride for 60 minutes, but maybe that's just a me thing. Obviously, SoulCycle does not care about that. It's like whenever the instructor is done, they're done. I feel like the biggest difference between Peloton and SoulCycle in these last 3 rides is just that SoulCycle is way more about vibes. They don't tell you resistance to go. I believe the cadence you're supposed to like match with the beat of the music, but it seems like they're not really, you know, married to that idea anyways. Like they're never like go 75 RPM basically. Like they're like, oh, like find a speed that's good for you, find a resistance that's good for you. So it's very much like what's good for you, definitely way less focus on the metrics. So it just depends what you want, but I feel like it is like a nice change every once in a while from Peloton that is so metrics driven. And then we obviously did a ton of out of the saddle work, a lot of like moving the upper body while you're out of the saddle. Like that stuff is hard, and that's not done on Peloton a lot. Like they have their groove rides, but even their groove rides are like not on the same level as this. Like this is way more intense. There wasn't a ton of recovery. It was kind of like take recovery like when you want, but no, the instructor is going to be doing something hard. I took a recovery song like around the 30-minute mark, and I think that it was kind of supposed to be recovery, although I definitely was going like less hard as the instructor was going at the time. And then at the 40-minute mark, there was like a 7 or 8-minute arm section that was pretty average but also pretty long, so that can also be recovery because you can either completely stop pedaling during it like the instructor, or just pedal very slowly, which is what I typically do. So I feel like I wish there was like more dedicated recovery, but it's kind of like take it when you want, and that's like the attitude that SoulCycle has. On that same note, I don't even understand, because the instructor tells you to like turn the dial to the right, which is like make it heavier, so many times, and I have to skip like 80% of her call outs of turning it to the right because I literally can't go heavier. And it looks like she actually does it every time. And I'm like, how is that possible? Like, I don't even know. So I definitely take these SoulCycle like instructions with a grain of salt. Like I decide if I want to do it. When Peloton, I take it more as like, you have to do it. So again, it's just like completely different vibes in my opinion. But I really enjoyed the instructor today. She definitely talked like a little bit more about her personal life. I feel like she was a little more like open and friendly. And yeah, I just thought that she was really great. And I was just amazed that a pregnant woman was just kicking my butt on the bike. Also, we did like this little towel dance like halfway through where we'd like lift the towel like in front of us and then over our head. And I thought that that was just like a fun touch. A lot of the upper body stuff is kind of more like push-ups in disguise in my opinion. So I thought that the like towel dance was fun, and yeah, it was a good addition to the class. So I think that's about it that I have to say about SoulCycle after taking some classes this week. I definitely think like it depends if you've done SoulCycle in the past in the studio. I think that it's a pretty good replication of in-studio Soul. Like obviously Soul in studio is like a different experience because you're with other people, but I feel like they replicate it fairly well on this bike. I just feel like it's obvious that they don't have the amount of funding or resources as Peloton in terms of like production quality, and they also have like way different vibes. If you like actually want to train, I'd probably recommend Peloton, but if you just want to have like a fun source of cardio, like it's still a really good workout. It's not like it's easy at all. I might even say that SoulCycle is harder than Peloton because you basically get no recovery, but it's just like a different vibe. So it depends what you want, but I think that there is a room in the world for both. And I think that different people will like migrate towards different ones. And I also think if I took all the instructors on Soul, I could definitely find an instructor that I like as much as my boy Ben Aldis on the Peloton. So that is it for this video. Let me know if you've tried the Soul bike or if you've tried like any of the other at-home bikes. I feel like Echelon, Peloton, and SoulCycle at home are kind of like the 3 biggest ones. But if I'm missing one, let me know. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.